Hi friends, today we're going to talk about the Manjula Pothos. And more than comparing it to the Pearls Jade and telling you how to care for each plant, I want to tell you the story behind this plant, where it came from, who created it, and how it was created. If you're new here, my name is Larissa, and in this channel we try to make plant parenting easier by explaining how plants work. So here it is. This is the Manjula Pothos. Well, a small Manjula. But basically, if you look closely, you're gonna see that this plant is very similar to this plant. And this one is the Pearls Jade. And I think these two plants being so similar is part of what led to a huge misconception when it comes to the origins of this plant. So basically, when I was doing the research to learn more about the Manjula Pothos, I came across this website that is very popular in the houseplant community. It's a very well-respected source. In this website, they were saying that the Manjula Pothos, and this plant is also known as Hansoti14. This plant, they were saying that it was created by the University of Florida. So I started to dig a little deeper, because if it was created by the University of Florida, there would be a patent document. And I actually found the patent document for this plant. But it turns out it was not created by the University of Florida. This plant was actually created by a commercial greenhouse near Mumbai in India. This whole plant was developed by a guy named Ashish Hansoti. And he named the plant after him, and he submitted the patent documents in 2014, hence Hansoti14. The patent was granted to him in 2016. And in this patent document, they also describe how this plant was created. So basically, this plant was selected in a group of more than 1,000 plants from a pothos variety called Compacta. And I never heard of this variety before. But basically, they propagated this plant 1,000 times, and they start to see some mutations because there is a large pool to choose from. And they got these mutated plants and put in another environment, and they propagated those plants, and they did that for years until they reached a plant that was different enough from all the other pothos varieties that they could call it a neocultivar. And after that, to make sure that this neocultivar is stable, according to the patent document, they propagated this plant for 25 generations of plants, not of human beings. But basically, through 25 sets of propagation, these characteristics of the plant were still the same. So they were confident enough to submit a patent application to have this plant registered in the name of Mr. Hansoti. And it's really sad, because this guy went to all this trouble, and I bet he has like a whole team in the greenhouse with him. They went for years selecting and propagating and cultivating, and he put his own name in the plant. Then it gets attributed to another researcher, another institution, and even another country. So we should give him his credit back. Also, I think this wasn't like somebody trying to steal the patent and, steal it from India, give it to the United States. I think this was just a mistake that was made by this publication, because the Manjula and the Pearls Jade are so similar. The University of Florida is the responsible for the Pearls Jade. So it's easy to mistake this plant from one another because they are all so similar. And I think what happened is this big publication published this information incorrectly, and a lot of YouTubers are sourcing from that publication because it's a big name out there. Not gonna name, but it's out there. Anyways, so I want to recap for you guys, because this is getting really complicated. So basically, we have the Manjula Pothos that was created by Mr. Hansoti in India. The patent was submitted in 2014, so we can say it was kind of created in 2014. We also have the Pearls Jade that is very similar to the Manjula Pothos, and it was created by the University of Florida in 2009 in the United States. And Mr. Hansoti in India also created the N'Joy Pothos in 2009. So these are three varieties that are really similar, but were created by different people in different times. Okay, then what's the difference between these two plants? The first difference, and this is in the patent document as well, is that this plant grows really slowly. That's one of the reasons why I have such a small plant, because I had this plant for I think 6 months now, and it gave me 1 or 2 small leaves. They don't know exactly why that happened, but this is one of the results of this genetic selection of this type of plant. One of the characteristics is a slow growth rate, and this can be good, this can be bad, depends on what you want from a plant. And when you look at the texture, they are really similar. They have like this bumpy surface. The variegation in it is really similar to the Pearls Jade. I think the Pearls Jade have more subtle tones of green, and the greens in the Manjula Pothos are more like lively. Another big difference is that the leaves of the Manjula are rounder, and they actually get much bigger. So my plant is still like a small plant and it's growing a lot of small leaves, but I'm gonna put a photo here on how it looks like when it's a mature plant. It really get these big leaves and these like big round leaves, and I think it's a very cute plant. And when it comes to the Pearls Jade, another misconception that I saw out there is that some people say that the Pearls Jade is a hybrid between the Manjula. No, wait. See how confusing this is? Like, these plants are driving me crazy. But basically, the idea was that the Pearls Jade is actually a hybrid between the Marble Queen and the N'Joy. And this is actually not true. First of all, these two plants were patented in 2009. One in India, one in the States. It didn't have like enough time to kind of put them in the same greenhouse and try to grow new plants. And second of all, you cannot cross two pothos cultivars, and this was the reason behind the creation of the program that they had at the University of Florida that created this plant, because you cannot cross two plants from different cultivars, because basically the pothos almost never flowers, so you can just cross-pollinate something. You have to always propagate. That's why they talk about creating clones. You're basically taking a part of the plant and creating a new plant. So that's why you cannot take two plants and mix together and make a new plant. That would be really cool, but it's not possible. And third of all, I saw the patent document for the Pearls Jade. They explain the whole process, something that they have to do when they submit the patent document. They need to prove that they were the ones who came with this new cultivar, so they have to describe the process that only them will know. And they actually use radiation to come up with this plant, and we have a whole video about it. It's a very cool story. Basically, that's the story, the soup opera of these three plants that look the same. They're like sisters, but they come from very different backgrounds. And if you like this video, you're also gonna like the playlist we have, just with all the videos we have about pothos plants and different varieties. And that's all. Thank you for watching, and I see you soon. Bye.